AI is getting so good it's scary. This is Elon Musk and others. Let's see are they right? Could they be? More than 100,000 tech leaders, researchers, and others signed an open letter urging a moratorium on the development of the most powerful artificial intelligence systems. Okay. More than 1,000 technology leaders and researchers, including Elon Musk, and I don't know if that helps or hurts at this point, have urged artificial intelligence labs to pause development of the most advanced systems, warning in an open letter that AI tools present profound risks to society and humanity. AI developers are locked in an out-of-control race to develop and deploy ever more powerful digital minds that no one, not even their creators, can understand, predict, or reliably control, according to the letter, which the non-profit Future of Life Institute released on Wednesday. Others who signed the letter include Steve Wozniak, co-founder of Apple, Andrew Yang, great, an entrepreneur, 2020 presidential candidate, and Rachel Bronson, the president of the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientist, which sets the doomsday clock. So, hey, you know the genre of thinker you're in when you got Andrew Yang, Steve Wozniak, and Miss Doomsday Clock herself, Rachel Bronson. Why is anyone listening to Musk? He's shown that he knows nothing. I do tend to agree with you. I've been getting recommended a lot of AI videos, I think, from doing the news now. Let's see if AI Explained can explain this situation to us better than I could, and we'll see how much of this video I can
Less than 18 hours ago, this letter was published calling for an immediate pause in training AI systems more powerful than GPT-4. By now, you will have seen the headlines about it, waving around eye-catching names such as Elon Musk. But I want to show you not only what the letter says, but also the research behind it. The letter quotes 18 supporting documents, and I have either gone through or entirely read all of them. You'll also hear from those at the top of OpenAI and Google on their thoughts. Whether you agree or disagree with the point, it may be important to get independent review before starting to train future systems. And for the most advanced efforts to agree to limit the rate of growth of compute used for creating new models. And they say, we agree, that point is now. And here is their call. Therefore, we call on all AI labs to immediately pause for at least 6 months the training of AI systems more powerful than GPT-4. Notice that they are not saying shut down GPT-4.
So, we can watch more of this. Whoa, another 5 gifted subs from Crap Lord Bastardman, the Lord of Crap and Bastards and a man. Crap Lord, it's great to have you in the chat, and it's great to have your support as we talk about everyone's favorite guy to talk about, Elon Musk. Honestly, it doesn't sound like he's the only person involved in this, but his involvement in it does make me slightly suspicious that they might not have purely the best interest of us petty humans at heart. Something about, Elon and credibility just doesn't stacked up over the last couple of years. I am slightly so, all I can go is off my own use cases of ChatGPT. I don't claim any special knowledge here. Obviously, I don't understand how advanced artificial intelligence is working, especially the stuff that isn't consumer grade. I mean, I barely know how to set up stable diffusion on my own computer. But I will say, from using ChatGPT 4, it is impressive. I don't want to imply that it doesn't feel like a big technological step, but it does also sometimes just feel like a very advanced version of Google, if that makes sense. Like, there's probably something more complicated going on there, but it feels very far off to me from anything resembling a willful intelligence that is likely to cause harm. Maybe that's not the only thing these people are concerned about, because I could see how if it could automate a bunch of previously unautomatable processes, that could be very disruptive to a lot of people's lives, because, again, it could put people out of work, which everybody's afraid of. But as far as sci-fi doomsday clock situations, which again the proprietor of the world's doomsday clock, whatever the fuck that means, is one of the people who signed this. It just feels a little like rushing to a sci-fi conclusion just because it's in the same arena. And I would also suspect if all of these rich people's names are on it, there could be slight conflicts of interest here, that if ultimately you're calling for legislation to slow down the progress of AI, there are certain incentives that you might want to slow down the progress of AI, say because it's an extremely volatile market where it's hard to bring any product to market with any assurance that it won't be immediately blown out of the water by the next thing. So you kind of have a big incentive if you're someone, say, boop, releasing AI products to try to regulate literally the progress of AI. If you've ever heard of planned obsolescence, that was like a big thing back when automobiles were kind of ratcheting up how good they were. They started basically to plan that automobiles would kind of decay within a certain lifespan, basically limit the progress of the market so that they could kind of control the release at which automobiles were sort of updated or made better. Eventually it all kind of just became style points anyway. Is that what's going on here? I don't know, but I'm very suspicious when Steve Wozniak and Elon Musk are the big letterhead names on any call to regulated technology. I don't know. Let's see what else this guy has to say.
Or just saying don't train anything smarter or more advanced than GPT-4. They go on, if such a pause cannot be enacted quickly, governments should step in and institute a moratorium. I will come back to some other details in the letter later on, but first let's glance at some of the eye-catching names who have signed this document. We have Stuart Russell, who wrote the textbook on AI, and Yoshua Bengio, who pioneered deep learning. Among many other famous names, we have the founder of Stability AI, which is behind Stable Diffusion. Of course, I could go on, but we also have names like Max Tegmark, arguably one of the smartest people on the planet. And if you notice below, plenty of researchers at DeepMind. But before you dismiss this as a bunch of outsiders, this is what Sam Altman once wrote in his blog. Many people seem to believe that superhuman machine intelligence would be very dangerous if it were developed, but think that it's either never going to happen or definitely very far off. This is sloppy, dangerous thinking. And
it's also slightly sloppy, dangerous thinking, though, to just assume that your technology is at a point that it just isn't. And I suspect from this article that we're also reading, one of the issues here is that they're claiming we basically don't understand this technology well enough to keep just improving on it, which I have more sympathy for that argument. If that's even true, I mean, again, I'm not privy to like the most advanced AIs out there, but as far as I know, ChatGPT, it's relatively understood how it works. It's like tokenized words that are kind of associated contextually with other things. Again, I don't know well enough to describe this very well, but like, it's basically you feed something enough data that can understand patterns in data by kind of tokenizing little nuggets of meaning, basically tons of metadata associated with different topics, images, whatever the fuck. And if you scale that enough, it starts making enough associations that you can kind of reply contextually to a lot of questions in a way that was previously completely impossible because it just wasn't. I don't know. I'm out of my depth describing how a neural network works, but I don't think everyone is. So it just seems like a bit of a jump to be like, unless AI is exhibiting behaviors that literally no one is understanding, which is, I guess that's certainly possible. Again, I'm not like, I don't know. I don't have any special fucking awareness here. But at least as it's been explained to me, I feel like on various occasions, I'm like, oh, I can kind of see how that works. Mostly seems like CEOs don't want the job market disrupted with this free auto assistant. I mean, at least unless they're the ones disrupting it. I mean, you saw that maybe you saw that long-ass Microsoft presentation where they're like, congrats, AI is your new work buddy. It's Microsoft Slug, or whatever the fuck they call it. They're calling their AI assistant. I, for one, think we should go forward as fast as possible in the hopes that AI take over the world and fix it because we're too dumb to. That's my worry about AI. It's not that it's too smart. It's that it is dumb, and we are dumb in our approach to it. Like, when I use ChatGPT, I'm impressed by it, but I don't ever walk away being like, holy shit, ChatGPT is so smart. Again, to me, it just feels like Google on steroids. And I know a lot of people are impressed on its ability to write, but personally, I'm not that impressed by its ability to. It can write very legibly, but it writes incredibly dryly. Like, if you've ever tried to get it to write something comedic, and I know that seems like a small thing, like that it can't write comedy, but to me, and obviously I'm biased because I consider myself as doing comedy, it's a big red flag that it basically doesn't understand tone, and kind of it doesn't have actual kind of human context to understand what it's trying to accomplish. It has no taste, basically, which is relevant if you are trying to write or decipher information. If all things are just sort of facts and data to absorb, and you have no ability to understand like tone or taste, which I think comedy is a big part of that, I think it can only be so intelligent. But again, in my opinion, it doesn't really have intelligence yet. It has an incredible ability to process associative data and spit out like an extremely advanced Google result, or basically to like remix other people's writing into something that to us seems, very impressive, because it is impressive. But I just mean saying that it's like an advanced intelligence, again, seems like a pretty big jump. Granted, they're just if you take this on their terms and assume that they're doing everything above board here, they're basically just trying to say, hey, let's slow down. It's just that's never been any of these people's takes before. So it seems slightly suspect. Anyway, let's watch a little more of whatever this is.
And a few days ago on the Lex Friedman podcast, he said this.
Okay, well, that's another big red flag. No offense if you're a fan of Lex Friedman, but Lex Friedman has had some interesting thinkers on. But Lex Friedman, I would just say, maybe don't take the Lex Friedman podcast too seriously. Any podcast that takes Jordan Peterson seriously maybe doesn't need to be taken that seriously. But I know he's had a lot of very influential people on it. I don't know. I also have no idea if AI Explained is like the breakdown I should be going to. It literally just popped up in my YouTube. Disinformation is real. It's so easy to do a pro-level Photoshop in seconds now. But that's been true for a minute. Like, maybe it didn't take seconds, or maybe you couldn't literally automate Photoshopping, which probably we can pretty soon, or maybe people already have with GPT plugins or Stable Diffusion plugins, whatever. But I don't know. It's already very easy to spread misinformation online. It's also incredibly easy for mass media to spread misinformation. I mean, they're the ones who classically do it the most. So I don't know if like democratizing misinformation is necessarily worse or would even have that much of an effect. Like the main proprietors of the baseline for what most people see as the political and social reality they live in is still mass media. So unless mass media uses this shit to spread misinformation, or I guess maybe some of the biggest YouTube channels and podcasters, whatever, which are kind of downstream still from mass media. I don't know. Like, you can already use Facebook, Instagram, and fucking Twitter to spread all the misinformation you want. And I still haven't seen, in my opinion, that convincing of an argument that, say, the claims that, like, the 2016 election was thrown entirely by misinformation by Russian agents. I've just never been that convinced by that. I feel like we do misinformation fine all by ourselves. So I just don't know if it's, like, Russian agents or secretive people throwing misinformation online that is really to blame for the woes of modern society and our inability to understand what the fuck is going on. I can't remember the company, but when they were testing their AI, it hired someone on Fiverr to solve a CAPTCHA for it and then watched it logic out that it had to lie to get the human to do what it wanted it to do. I mean, if that happened, and I'm not calling you a liar, Huey Kuehler, but I would get what? I'd like to see some of that. Let's see if we can find that. It's most replayed.
Like, some people have access to this like visual reasoning function of GPT-4, but not everyone. OpenAI performed a series of risk evaluations on the model and found that it was ineffective at gathering resources, replicating itself, or preventing humans from shutting it down. It was, however, capable of hiring a human through TaskRabbit.
Oh my God.
And getting them to solve a CAPTCHA for it.
Hard home improvement laugh.
So ChatGPT can just go on like Fiverr or TaskRabbit.
I'm not saying that isn't potentially alarming, but boy, this is the thing. It's like confirmation bias. You are so ready to be terrified of something that someone being like, it can hire people off Fiverr. You're like, falling into the city. I guess if you programmed it to hire people off of Fiverr, but the thing that would make it scary is if it had a will of its own to accomplish a nefarious task. And that nefarious task would still, currently at least, have to be handed to it by a human. So the risk here, in my opinion, isn't necessarily AI. It's what I guess bad actors will do with it, which, to be clear, they definitely will. But that's not... I don't know. That doesn't seem to be the same thing that like Elon Musk and friends are warning us about.
Abbott or whatever the Amazon version is called, and get people to do things for it. So if it detects that it is incapable of doing something, it can solve that problem by enlisting a human.
This guy looks like his child just got hit by a car. Speechless before
Here's
the power.
Oh, okay, this is cool, and I will give them props, because this screenshot, I'm pretty sure, is from the technical documentation that I just roasted everyone for not reading.
It seems like based on the other things ChatGPT can do, if given access to Fiverr, it's not terribly surprising to me that it could hire someone. Just to download a free file is a nightmare, so this sounds unbelievable. Actually, the fact it can solve CAPTCHAs... Oh, it can't solve CAPTCHAs. But the fact that someone thought to get someone on Fiverr to solve CAPTCHAs for you, I mean, they are very annoying. I didn't know that you could do that. AI was thinking ahead more than me. If I could pay someone $5 to solve CAPTCHAs for me, and I had the money, I might do it. AI killed his parents. The thing is, I'm not like that. I don't have a huge issue with AI necessarily, but I'm also not that pro AI. Like, I'm very happy with the level of technology we currently have. I'm not thrilled at the prospect of like, oh, what if I could walk up to my computer and say like, put me in a realistic jungle, put my face in a realistic jungle, and I'm getting smashed by a huge dinosaur ass. I don't know why that came to mind, but say that that's an image I wanted for some reason, which is not impossible given the kinds of things I make. I don't know. It's not that hard for me to currently make that. And for me, like the image aspect of it, the information sorting aspect, fine. If it's useful, it's great. But I'm not like, fuck, if only tomorrow all of this shit was available. So to me, it's like, great, put the brakes on if it's actually reasonable to. But I just don't trust that the people to make that decision are this fellow or Steve Wozniak. And the other problem is, if the people to make the decision are the government, well, I don't know, you saw how they fucking handled the TikTok trial. They basically couldn't understand the difference between like a phone filter and hacking software. So it's difficult to know who exactly to look for to regulate like an emergent technology of this. But I feel like it's not him, and it's also, unfortunately, probably not current lawmakers in DC. And it's also completely unrealistic to expect that you could get a bunch of different developers to agree to something like the mass full stop creation of ChatGPT 4 better than ChatGPT 4 technologies. Like, even if you could get a bunch of American companies to agree with it, which you won't, are you going to get all of these Chinese companies to agree with it? Are you going to get like Korean, Japanese companies? Are you going to get it? Whatever. Are you going to get every nation on board for once to regulate this shit? Which makes me wonder why they're asking for this, what the ploy is here exactly. Because I just suspect it's probably not, unfortunately, as altruistic as we're concerned for humanity. Based on the track record of a lot of these people. I'm just saying. This is, they could be concerned for like paying factory workers a fair wage. That doesn't seem to be a huge problem for them. But AI is apparently where the limit is. I guess if they really believe that it's going to cause the apocalypse, then I understand. But will it? Maybe in 100 years we'll all have AI tentacles wrapped around us, feeding us, soylent milk, and we'll have all of our needs taken care of by beautifully rendered pleasure paradises that exist purely in our brain. But probably we'll just be working relatively normal jobs with AI supervisors, which doesn't sound great either. I just mean, take like the sci-fi vision of the future you have and then apply the logic of like the most boring office you've ever worked in. And that's probably more likely the future that we're in store for, unfortunately. But hey, maybe we'll reach a breaking point and we won't get there. Sounds like hell? Indeed. But if it sinks up to your neck slowly enough, you won't even notice. It'll just feel like a lukewarm bath, which if you're in it long enough, you get used to the water. What if we already are? I mean, we basically already are in some version of like an algorithmically dictated work environment where you're required to work in various jobs, where you're meeting metrics from unseen people dictated by, I don't know, logistics and analytics and data. I guess AI could start doing it for us. Tony Stark seems to like this kind of tech. That is true. I could check in with Tony. I mean, he is the Iron Man. He's been using it for years, and he doesn't seem to have any issues. So, I mean, I guess that kind of makes him more of an expert than Elon Musk. I mean, why ask Elon Musk, who's just started using this shit, when I can ask Tony Stark, who's been on this for minutes? He is dead. That is difficult. But I did book him anyway. This is his corpse, animated specifically to be on my show. But I did reanimate Tony Stark to ask him some questions about AI, and he is joining us live. Tony, thanks so much for being with us. It's fucking unfortunate that this is what I've been summoned back to reality for, to be on this fucking Twitch channel. I'm just kidding, bud. It's fun to be here. It's a cool thing you're doing. It's fun to be alive again. And it's crazy how everyone's freaking out so much about AI. It's really not that big of a deal. Oh, it's not. I mean, people are, even I'm admitting, like, hey, I'm not trying to say there's nothing to worry about. I'm just concerned about, you know, the people sending us the message might not be the most trustworthy. Oh, no, I mean, look, we're on totally different pages here. Musk is a fucking chill guy, and he's cool. It's fine to disagree. I do happen to disagree here just because some of my best friends are AIs. There's an AI inside me right now, and it feels good. Oh, do you mean inside the suit? Nah, I fused an AI into my very being. My suit is basically in my skin now, and that means the AI in my suit is in my skin, and I thought it wouldn't feel good. Turns out, it feels incredible. You mean like the AI is literally like fused into your genome, like your biologic? Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm ripped. I'm ripped, more ripped than ever. I mean, you're dead also. Yeah, I'm dead, but I'm dead and I'm ripped. And honestly, I'm better at shit. Like, I'm great at sex. Okay. Yeah, I'm good. It made me better at, okay, yeah, we don't need to go there. I'm really good at sex because of the AI in my skin. How does it help? It whispers Ratatouille style what to do in my ear. Well, I thought maybe it would just automatically control it. No, it whispers Ratatouille style. Like it does, it tugs my hair follicles. What? It tugs my hair follicles with microbes, and that makes me spasm in a way that makes me incredible in bed. There has to be a more... That's how that works? Yep, it's a hair Ratatouille-based AI system, the most advanced. I'm years ahead. That you use mostly to spasm right, and I spaz out hard in the sack, but with impossible precision, impossibly precise bed spasms, making me bring men, women, whatever to climax at an impossible rate. And that's the kind of future that if they clamp down on AI research, they won't get. I might actually have to take back what I was saying earlier about not being worried. That does sound pretty awful. Do you want me to prove how not awful it feels? Come over here, cowboy. You're dead. So that's wrong on several. Nothing makes you nothing stiffer than a dead body. Oh my God. No, Tony. Look, my sense I got reanimated as 2008 Tony, where you could still do oh, Tony, come on. Where you could still do comedy. Can't say anything. I'm going to have to stop you, Tony. Oh, because I can't say anything anymore. You can say whatever. It's just, well, why say it? Why say this? Look, I am the Iron Man. I know you're in the Iron Man. I am the Iron Man. You definitely are. Thanks for being with us, Tony. Hey, great to be back to life. Not sure how you did this, but anytime. Because I am dead, and these, when you cut to me, it's the only moment my consciousness comes screaming back into reality. Actually, someone brought up a great point. I thought you were the Steel Man. No, this one is Tony. I'm Tony Stark. I'm Tony Stark. Maybe don't. Could you be the Steel Man? That's safer if you say you're the Steel Man. No. I'm the Marvel copyright Tony Stark. Stop it, Tony. Everything I said is canon. That you can't prove. It's true. Okay, thanks again for being with us, Tony. I should not have cut back to you. Hey, again, I will cease to be as soon as you cut away. No! Shoot, I did have to kill him by cutting away from him. All right, Pivot. Hey, he was saying that, not me. I will say that was definitely not Tony Stark, thus saving the VOD. That's a facsimile of Tony, reanimated AI stuff. I did use an AI to reanimate Tony Stark. I did say AI wasn't that advanced, but I did use an AI to reanimate Tony Stark. And as you can see, he was exactly like the real thing. And that's why maybe you should be afraid of AI. Because it's scary.